So good morning.
Good morning.
I'm just going to take a minute, because the challenge is always after something wonderful like that, just to make a good segue, you know? And you know, it's just, I feel like we're done. Let's just let it go. But no, actually, that does fit in beautifully with what I want to talk about. My talk today is called Where the Good Leads. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I got that. I don't know about you, but in the last little bit, in the last few weeks, I have just been feeling like something is up. Something is up. There's just an energy shift, there's a change, there's something that is just speaking to me, and perhaps to us. I just get the feeling that something is coming, something is next. It's something good. Do you ever have that feeling? Some people call it divine discontent. Do you ever have that? It's not that things are bad, it's not that you can point to something horrible, it's just that something is calling. Something is whispering, but sometimes the voice is so low you can't quite hear it yet. I know you all know what I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah, it's just something is whispering to me and maybe to us. So what do? At times like this, like you, when I start having that feeling, what is it I do? I sit down and I just listen. Even in the middle of my life, which is frankly complete and total chaos 90% of the time. I just sit down and listen. All the parents in the audience left. I just sit and I just take some time and I just try to hear what I'm being told. I try to listen for any messages that are in this for me. I believe, and through everything in my life, this has turned out to be true. I believe that we are being led toward our good. The universe is conspiring toward our good, even if we can't see it, even if we don't know what it is. And I have faith in that, and I know it to be true. So as I sat there and I was listening, I heard a phrase, and it just came. It said, go where the good leads you. I said, what? And that's what it said. It said, go where the good leads you. That was it. And all of a sudden, I felt so much lighter. It was like, yes, that is the answer. I may not know where I'm going to end up, but I know how to get there. I go where the good leads me. The message was clear. It was hopeful. It was unambiguous. It was just what I needed to hear. And see, that's why I know that the universe unfolds for our good, because when we need it, we hear stuff like that. Now, whether it's coming to you in your mind, or whether it's a billboard you see, or whatever. Let me give you an example of the billboard idea. I was driving down Sandy Plains Road the other day. I was driving back through something. You know that Pilgrimage UCC church where Kim Buchanan is the minister? Very nice church, very nice woman. I'm driving by, and it's got that billboard up, and it said, be the voice, not the echo. I'm like, oh my God, that's great. It's just little signs like that that kind of touch us through life. Be the voice, not the echo. It meant so much when I saw it. So anyway, that was the message. Go where the good leads us. Okay, now, that told me I know how to get from here to there. I know the steps I need to take. I know how I need to approach that journey, even if I don't know how it's going to look when I get there. Okay, so the bad news is the guidance is not all that clear. It didn't tell me to quit my job, dye my hair, lose weight, get a divorce, move to Arizona, nothing like that. It doesn't tell you anything that specific. And for me, that's the good news, because what I'm looking for is I'm not looking for a place to end up. I'm looking for a way to get there. I'm looking for a way to navigate from here to there. The process is first, and then the destination follows. I don't know sometimes how these changes are going to look. I don't know what that room is going to look like that I end up in. But that's okay, because the other thing that I thought about is uncertainty. We all live in uncertainty. I was talking to someone the other day, and I said, I don't even know if I'm going to get home. I just don't know. I don't know how anything is going to turn out. And if I tell myself I do, it's just an illusion. It's a construction. It's a construction made from hope, from experience, from intuition, from choices I've made so far. But when I think I know what an outcome is going to be, I don't. I think I make plans. What I really make is educated guesses. And sometimes I'm right and sometimes I'm not. That's why the process is so important. That's why how we decide the next step to take is so important, because I don't know where we're going to end up. I mean, look at your lives. Okay, we all have lives with a great deal of detail. When I was 10 or 11, or even 18, did I know how my life was going to look? Did I know how it was going to look? No. Did any of you know how things were going to turn out when you were younger? No, you didn't. You just got to where you are by a series of choices, micro choices, course corrections, using the guidance that was given to you at the time. So I think it's important to be aware of what that guidance is, and that's what that message was to me. Go where the good leads you. And we worry. Sometimes we worry. We worry about how the world is going to perceive us. We worry about if we're going to be a success. Is this endeavor going to turn out? We just don't know. We talk ourselves into fear. We talk ourselves into limitation. We talk ourselves into not doing what we think we need to be doing. We live sometimes in too much fear. But if we continue to look at the metric of heading toward our good, it liberates us, it frees us, it gives us the courage to take that next step, because we have a metric. It's doing what is right for us. Now we know that we're not, this is helpful because we know that we are not wired to be comfortable with uncertainty. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about how when things are uncertain and we don't know how things are going to turn out, we awfulize. Do you remember that? We awfulize. So instead of not just being okay with the not knowing, we put in a really bad result. Oh, it's going to be terrible. And then we worry about it. How efficient are we? We don't even know what's going to turn out, but we just kind of plug it in and we say, oh, it's going to stink, and then we worry about it. We're so efficient at adding to our own stress. So what I have come to learn, and what this message gave to me, is that I don't need so much the ability to plan better or the ability to be able to see into the future. I need the ability to navigate and live with the truth that I don't know how my good is going to look. That I just have to be calm and be at peace in the not knowing. Even while I know what the next step is going to be. Do you remember that Henri Nouwen quote that said, it's like being at the front of a tunnel with a flashlight. We may not see the end, but we always see our next step. It's a wonderful image. We may not see the end, but we always see our next step. That is what it means when we continue to go where the good leads us, even if we don't know where we're going to end up. Okay, so am I saying that we should never plan, we should never have visions? I'm not saying that at all. The visions we have for our future, like our vision, it comes out of the best of who we are. It comes out of our love and our willingness and our hope to express as we are in the world. It comes out of our desire, just like Susan Boyle said, to be who we came here to be. Our visions for our future are our articulations of how we want to show up in the world, our dreams of how we want to be perceived, the impact we want to have. I want to create beauty. I want to be a teacher, a healer, an engineer, a musician, whatever. It's how we want to make our impact in the world. So those are things of what we want to be. Those are our dreams of what we want to be. But in the meantime, what do we do? There's a being and there's a doing. What do we do while we are actualizing those dreams? Well, as Julia Butterfly Hill told us in our reading, love is in the doing. Love in action is stepping out and being who we are, knowing who we are, and going out and making a difference with the gifts that we have. We move forward with awareness and with heart and hope and clarity. So as I was researching this talk, I came across a woman named Angeles Eyre, and I hope I'm saying her name right. She was a cross-cultural anthropologist who founded the Foundation for Shamanic Studies and taught a practice that she called the Fourfold Way. Now, we're all somewhat familiar with this Toltec wisdom because many of us have read the Four Agreements, but this is kind of a continuation of that. She taught the Fourfold Way. She wrote, virtually all shamanic traditions draw on the power of four archetypes in order to live in harmony and balance with our environment and our own inner nature. The warrior, the healer, the visionary, and the teacher. And just stick with me for a minute because this is useful. Each of these archetypes gives rise to a principle for living that I think is useful as we approach the question, how do we move toward our good? The fourfold principles are these. First one is show up, or choose to be present. Being present allows us to access our resources of power, presence, and communication. This, she says, is the way of the warrior. Be present. Be aware. 2 is pay attention to what has heart and meaning for us. Paying attention opens us to the resources of love, gratitude, acknowledgement, and validation. This is the way of the healer. 3rd is tell the truth without blame or judgment. Tell the truth without blame or judgment. Non-judgmental truthfulness, it maintains our authenticity and it opens up our inner vision and intuition. This, she says, is the way of the visionary. And the last one is be open to the outcome, but not attached to the outcome. I love that one. Be open to the outcome, but not attached to the outcome. Openness and not attachment help us to recover the human resources of wisdom and objectivity. This is the way of the teacher. As we move forward in awareness, truth, and heart, we are moving toward our good, step by step, if we follow these principles. Even if we don't know what the outcome is going to be, we are open to it. We remain aware of the possibilities, even if we don't know it. Every time we choose to turn for the good as opposed to the easy or the popular, we grow in wisdom and we grow in awareness. Don Juan, in his teachings to Carlos Castaneda, remember Carlos Castaneda's writing the teachings of Don Juan, put it this way: look at every path closely and deliberately. Try it as many times as you think necessary. Then ask yourself and yourself alone one question. This question is one that only a very old man asks. My benefactor told me about it once when I was young and my blood was too vigorous for me to understand it. Now I do understand it. I will tell you what it is. Does this path have a heart? Does this path have a heart? If it does, the path is good. If it doesn't, it is of no use. That is what we know to be true when we walk toward our good. Does this path, for me, have a heart? Acceptance and appreciation of the uncertainty that surrounds us is the way to wisdom, being open to the outcome, but not investing in it. I was listening to a speaker a few weeks ago. This guy had traveled around Japan with the Dalai Lama. And everybody everywhere was coming up to the Dalai Lama because he's, pretty much the wisest man going. And they were coming up and they were saying, how should I raise my children? What should I do in the future? What is going to become of us? And the Dalai Lama would look at them and smile, and to everybody he would say, I don't know. But he would keep smiling. And far from being depressed, these people were great, because even though he didn't know, it was still okay. The message he was giving them was, you are okay, the universe is okay, even if we don't know. I don't know. It's okay to be wise and not know. That is telling the truth. Because at the end of the day, we don't know. The author Joanna Macy once asked, if we could be given a pill that would all of a sudden tell us how everything turned out, would that elicit from us our greatest creativity and our greatest courage? Ask yourself that. If somebody offered you a pill, here, take this, and you'll know how everything turns out. Would that draw from you your greatest courage, your greatest creativity, hope, and love? No, it wouldn't, because that stuff comes forward in the uncertainty, in the building, in the hoping, in the creating. Uncertainty is our inspiration, because we are trying to build something even when we don't know that it's going to show up. We don't want to know how it turns out. We want to use this opportunity of not knowing to express all that we are, all our hopes, all our creativity and our love, to build toward the good. Does that make sense? Yeah, it does. This is the metric that we have. This is the only metric that we have. To use all we have to keep going toward the good. Now look at us at One World. Just look at this community. How have we done that over the past 6 years? Do you remember when we were leaving our old building and we didn't know where we were going to go? What did we do? Did we walk around the parking lot flailing ourselves and wailing? No, we didn't. Because we had faith that there's somebody back there saying, everybody but her.
Green and I are like, yeah, we did.
Most of us did not moan wandering around the parking lot. We didn't. And even those two didn't. I saw them. Knew that what was going to happen was going to be okay, even if we didn't know what it looked like. We had faith that our future was solid, that working together, we would come up with a future and a structure and a being together that reflected who we were. Didn't we? That reflected who we were. I was talking to Linda Went the other day, and we were talking about what made One World the community that it is. Because we have changed so much and we have grown so much. And we're going to talk about this some more in the annual meeting. But we decided, which means actually I said, but we decided together, it was really both of us, we decided that what made us different is a lot of communities, especially New Thought communities, they spend a lot of time kind of gazing at themselves. I always have this joke that if I got up here every week and my talk was titled, Toward a More Fabulous You, and my next week was Toward a More Stupendous Fabulous You, and my next week was Toward a Super Fantabulous You, you know, that would be what a lot of communities do, but it's not. What we have done is we have taken the opportunity to learn about connectedness and about oneness and about unity. And we have taken what we learned and we have put it into service, not only in terms of personal growth, but in terms of the knowledge that our job is to go out and be that. Not just talk about it, not just gaze at ourselves in the mirror and say how wonderful we are, but to go out and be the light. To serve and to bring people together and spread the message, just like we talked about during prayer time, that we are connected. There's a concept that Joanna Macy and a guy named David Corton have. It's called the Great Turning. And the Great Turning is the notion, which is coming to pass now, that we are moving from an industrial society of acquisition and consumption and domination to a higher consciousness of caring and connection and mutual support and community. That is, if you can imagine it, all humanity just turning toward the light, because we know that's where we need to go. That is who we have decided to be, each of us, individually and collectively. We are at the forefront of that turning. You know, there used to be a notion that somebody said to me and said, well, you know, if a community just, well, what if you just shut down tomorrow? What if you just went away? Would anybody miss you? And to be honest, I used to think that maybe nobody would. But now I know that I was wrong. Because they would. Because that's who we are. That's what we do. No matter how many people are sitting there. That's still what we do and what we have committed to do, and that is what makes us different. Because we have joined together as a community to walk toward our good. Because that's who we are. And that is how we manifest spirit in the world. Now, the other thing I want to say is that it's important to me that nobody goes out of this room thinking that they need to be more spiritual or more like somebody else. Because when you're walking toward your good, you're walking toward your good. I used to say for the longest time, this is Melanie thinking I need to be more spiritual, that the Dalai Lama gets up every morning at 3 o'clock and meditates for 4 hours. And so naturally, I felt like a total failure because I didn't do that. And finally, as really this morning as I was thinking about it, I thought, the heck with it. I'm going to go toward my good. I'm going to be me. I don't want anyone to leave this room thinking they need to be more like somebody else.
Bravo.
Yeah. Seriously. You know what I do this morning? I like to think before I get to church, 2 hours and think something deep and maybe read something in Sanskrit. You know, who knows? But what I did is I get up, I feed the dogs, I clean up a lot of dog messes, I throw on my clothes and I run out the door. This is what you get. But that's okay. That is how I am me. That is how I grow spiritually and in community, by being me. And that's what each of you gets to do. Don't anybody walk out thinking you've got to be more like someone else. Because you know what? You pay money, you go to these seminars, you pay these people $500, and what do? They don't have kids, they typically don't have a spouse, they eat food that all ends in a vowel that I wouldn't even know, and they have wonderful mountain views. It's like, that's not my life. I mean, we start where we are. We do, and we start together where we are. And that's what we are going to do. As long as I'm standing up here, that's what we're going to do.
All right.
All right. I want to close with it. I love this quote. I have this quote from this movie. It's called, and I think you may all have seen it, The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. There's this line in it. Evelyn says, "Nothing here has quite worked out as I expected." And Muriel says, "Most things don't, but sometimes what happens instead is the good stuff." Yeah. So let's keep going toward the good stuff.